In early 2017, 3 men banded together to try and create a podcast. Their bodies were never found. On the hard drive of one of the men's computers was a single file, labeled, "Please God, never let this see the light of day." The flawed abomination that you are about to hear is that audio recording.
Hello.
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 Welcome, boys and girls.
Welcome, my little salty seamen.
No.
Don't call them that.
No, we're not doing that. No.
We're not calling them seamen.
Seamen
Unless they're on a boat.
and women, you know, and other.
That's just too long.
All are inclusive. Welcome to the as to be determined named podcast thing.
No one will ever hear this, as this is the pilot.
This is what we show to the executives.
Yeah. We're gonna go straight to Disney. We're gonna walk in and be like, Walt, I know you're frozen, but I know you can hear me in there.
Just talk to his severed head.
We talked to the creator of SpongeBob.
He did not create SpongeBob.
He's not
No,
part
we
of
talked
Disney,
to-
is he?
No?
Then why would he
Nickelodeon.
be in Disney HQ?
Because he gets around. He's a creative man.
Right. Let's launch straight into section 1, the news.
The news.
Who would like to go first with their news story?
Since we started before the recording, Madeleine McCann.
Okay,
I heard she hasn't been seen in a while.
quite an open topic there.
More specifically, they've cornered a new suspect who is female. So the police are hunting down this woman who may or may not hold secrets to what the fuck's going down with Madeleine
Isn't
McCann.
she assumed dead at this point? Like, isn't there a certain amount of time on that, like 7 years or something?
Who cares anymore?
Wow.
No,
Straight
honestly,
in
who
with this.
gives a shit? Like,
I mean, in theory, the parents.
Yeah, the
although
parents.
That's always been under doubt.
Yeah.
yeah, the parents care about the money and the publicity that they're getting.
Yeah, to be fair, the mother wrote a book, didn't she? Which is
How old was Madeline when she
like
disappeared?
3, right? 4?
Let me skim through the article. It's going to be like, oh, Madeline who disappeared in such and such.
Oh, you're very prepared here. Skim reading the article as we talk about it.
Well, it closed in 2009, so it was 8 years ago when that closed.
Yeah, exactly. Probably close because she was assumed dead at that point. So,
Yeah.
what did you want to talk about, Madeleine McCann? Like any?
I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to talk about on the grounds that of all of the missing children that potentially, drop off the face of the earth every single year in a foreign country, it's Madeleine McCann who keeps popping up, regardless of the fact that she's either probably dead or is working under a different identity now.
Any other child, it's, they've been missing for 3 months now. We're just gonna stop searching. But Madeleine McCann, they're doing like forensic analytics of like pictures of a kid with a different coloured eye that they saw at a football game.
I think it's a symbol, though. It's a symbol of the fact that it can happen to people on holiday and like them not wanting to give up at this point.
I mean, the only reason it happened at all was due to negligence. They just fucked off and then she went missing.
Yeah. I mean, they're not good parents. I think this has been established over the many years that this case has been going on.
She went missing in 2007.
That's 10 years.
That's 10 years ago.
Okay, I mean, my sort of view of the situation was always that it was probably the parents. They couldn't prove anything. Something to do with the Portuguese law meant that they couldn't charge them because they'd already decided to go for the murder charge, so they couldn't be charged with negligence because of the weird system of law over there. And that's it, really. There's nothing you can do. Quite easy to hide a 3-year-old's body, you know. They're small.
They're small and easily encased in concrete and then dropped in the ocean.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, bloody hell. It's like that, I have no idea what his name was, but there was a similar thing that happened there was a lad abroad who went missing, and it's only just come out recently that like a builder accidentally killed him, and they basically buried his body under.
Oops, I've dropped this cement.
Oh yeah,
block
I
off a
can't remember
10-story
anything about
building.
it. I just
Oh,
remember
he's dead.
I was aiming my hammer at this wall and it flew out of my hand and landed in this child's face.
I don't think he was a child. I think he was like a teenager.
And it flew in this gobshite teenager's face.
I mean,
Whoa.
hammers kill most people that you hit in the face with.
Fraser with the gobshite against a dead teenage guy that did
Yeah,
nothing
okay,
wrong.
that's a bit mean of me. Sorry, dead teenage guy.
Yeah, apologise to him, Fraser.
I'm sorry, ghost of dead teenage guy. Please don't haunt my house.
Speaking of haunting, the system of haunting. Okay, I die on a train. Okay, do I haunt that train or that place that the train happened to be in when I died?
I suppose that it could be a ghost train type of thing.
Well, no, only I died of a heart attack rather than the train exploded or something.
It depends how you died on the train. Like, if you died of a heart attack on one of the carriages, you could have a haunted carriage.
Okay.
Because it could be linked to your dying breath being
See,
in
the thing
there or
is,
something.
right, a Victorian train, with all the luxury and everything.
Uh-huh.
That's quite a cool setting for a haunting.
Yeah.
But the Virgin Express to London, carriage C has a squeaky door. We think it's because of that dead guy 12 years ago. That's not particularly interesting.
I like to think of a haunted train carriage just to be like that one guy who keeps showing up, no one says anything, and then he just disappears after you go through a tunnel.
That'd be the lamest haunting ever.
It's unnerving because where he is, it's slightly cold and there's a
The
bit
unnerving train carriage.
Yeah.
You'll feel slightly uncomfortable.
I've heard of one weird...
Cinema's dismay.
I forget...
Is it a draft? Is it a ghost?
You'll never know, and it won't bother you ever again.
I've heard of one strange ghost story where I think it's in the Yorkshire, I'm going to say swamps.
Yeah, the swamps of Yorkshire.
It's as close as going to get, the massive section of
The
Yorkshire,
moors.
which is just bracken.
Yorkshire swamp.
Yorkshire Dales.
That's the one, the Yorkshire Dales. There's a country road that goes through there, and apparently there's a recurring incident of people just driving through there, and then a pair of hairy hands appearing over the wheel or steering mechanism of their vehicle and steering them off a cliff, killing them. It clasps over the top of your hands and then just keeps you going, so you just drive over a curve and die.
But how do they report that?
It happens with cars, it happens with motorbikes, and because there are other
The
passengers...
real question is, why are there so many people driving in the swamps of Yorkshire?
Yeah, that's...
Well, it's a
It's a
country
good
road that
dangerous
goes through
place to
it,
be.
so you might need to go to a farmhouse, one of the old farm swamps.
If it's a swamp that's also on a cliff, apparently,
Yeah.
in a country road with probably very little visibility,
Yeah.
I feel like people would go off the road anyway without it, Bigfoot's severed hands interfering in the process.
Boy, I wish I hadn't worn my decorative bare hands whilst driving through the Yorkshire forest.
I've heard of other stories as well, of just kind of you drive through a specific section of roadway and it looks as though something's flying at you like a brick or something, and then you swerve
And then
to
a
avoid
brick
it.
hits the windscreen.
People
you
just
crash.
people keep swerving to avoid it
Ooh.
and then crashing into this one tree, but every single person who's just kind of gone ah, and then just kind of drove straight on, nothing happened.
That's
A
a
shadow blob just goes what?
A bat?
A bat.
Oh, it looks like you could mistake it for a brick. It comes flying at your windscreen. You're like, oh no.
No, when I say a brick, I mean a proper paving slab. It's
a paving slab?
It's fucking big. So please, gentlemen, news again, please.
Okay, news section 2. Robert,
Yes.
what's
Well,
your story, buddy?
My story is the actual story itself isn't what I'm interested in. It's
Okay.
the story. The basics of the story was that there was an inmate who got executed in America,
Right.
and the way they do it with the lethal injection is you're basically anesthetized, anesthetized.
Yes.
You put under.
Yeah, you put under so that you don't feel anything. They pump you full of all these different drugs and you die.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy that they executed, Kenneth Williams, I think was his name.
Good old Kenny.
Big Ken.
He was like moaning and looked like he was in pain. So like the people watching it were obviously a bit like
Oh,
shocked
we
by
we
that.
don't want to be him in pain as we kill him.
I know, right? So it was just a bit underneath where he was sentenced to life for killing a cheerleader.
Right.
But after a month in the penitentiary, he escaped in October 1999 by hiding in a barrel.
Oh my god, it's like the Hobbit.
He was a hobbit.
Yeah, the bit where they
Um,
roll down in the river.
Not far from the prison, he encountered Cecil Boren on his farm.
Cecil.
He shot Cecil multiple times to death,
It's Cecil, right?
stole his Ford pickup truck, and went on a police chase at high speeds that killed Michael Greenwood.
Good old
After
Mikey.
being jailed, Williams became an ordained minister and wrote his autobiography.
And then he was put to death.
What was the interesting part in the
What-
story?
yeah,
It was just the interesting part of how he snuck out in a barrel, shot a farmer, got into a high-speed chase, and then got arrested again.
Then the ghost train showed up and the hairy hands caused the death of Michael LeBronson.
Well, look, you'd think, okay, you've escaped
Washington
from the
State.
penitentiary.
Yeah.
What would you do? You know, you'd go live out your life and be free. No, you shoot a farmer. It just seems like a pointless endeavour.
I get the feeling I'd just probably hide out in a well for a couple of years.
How would you live in a well?
I mean, it'd be cold and wet, but at least I wouldn't drown.
Oh yeah, but you know,
How would
prison.
you get out?
Compared to prison, that's like luxury, isn't it? Let me live in a
prison's
hole.
alright. If you're white, prison's good.
Oh.
Have you heard about all that prison shit to do with like the weird drugs?
What weird drugs?
Like there's a new hip drug that the prison inmates are using that makes them like all fucking buzzy and weird and shit.
Is it cocaine?
You know, it used to be a legal high, but now it's illegal, and they're still sneaking it in anyway with drones and shit.
Drones?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, like the
Is this
people who
Mission
are dealing
Impossible?
drugs just bought a drone and just flew them over the fence, and then a guy with like a hook on a stick just dragged them in
How did the drone people get the money though?
because they sell drugs.
Yes, Fraser, I'm saying if they're giving it to prison inmates who hit the drone out of the sky with a hook,
They don't
how
hit the
did the
drug out of the
prison
sky. They catch
inmates
the
give them money?
they catch the package.
They do a GoFundMe. It's all.
It's on Kickstarter.
My
it's all
mate,
backed.
yeah.
Kickstart my drug obsession.
My mate's got like a really big addiction and he needs to be fueled, but he's in prison, so we need some money. Go to my GoFundMe page. Kickstart my drone project.
It's just the American justice system is.
No, this is
also
here.
weird.
This is in England.
No, we're on about Kenneth Williams, I think.
Because,
They killed Kenny.
well,
I mean, he killed several people.
it's like, oh, we're going to humanely kill him. And now they're all freaking out and like, oh, the death penalty lethal injection doesn't work properly because they're feeling it.
I mean, I think it's barbaric that we still kill people in the year 2017.
Yeah,
In
either
this, the
we,
year of our Lord, 2017.
either we kill them and accept it. It might hurt a little bit when you die, or we just don't kill them because it doesn't do anything.
Well, it kills them.
Well, it kills them, but it doesn't solve a problem.
Well, it solves them being alive as a problem.
I mean, like, no one seems to have that type of issue when they kill people with the electric chair. It's like, yeah, fry the fucker's brain.
No, I think they stopped doing the electric chair, right? Because it was so violent and people literally melted onto the chair.
I think some states still use it. They're like one or
Oh,
two.
yeah, but some states it's like, you know, you're expected to fuck your cousin, like, when you're 14, say.
I've heard of I know this is gonna sound like really weird because I can't remember what country he's from, but there was this prince in Africa who saw like electric chairs and was like, "Oh, dude, those look sick. I'm buying like 3." But there wasn't any electricity in his country, so he just used one as a throne.
Because they look comfortable.
You got like a colander on the head bit, did that not give it away?
That's his crown?
Anyway, I'm going to move on to my news story.
Oh boy, the best one.
My article's from The Telegraph, a British news publication.
Mine was
Oh,
from the Telegraph, but go on.
It says Oxford University apologises for everyday racism advice which offended autistic people. Now, this is quite a charged subject, I admit,
Yes.
but I felt like it had to be at least mentioned.
Uh-huh.
So basically, Oxford University released like a pamphlet, I think it was, like the student sort of services bit that's
Mhm.
supposed to deal with diversity and equality and everything. They advise students about racial microaggressions. So little things you might not be aware that you're doing, which might be seen as like building up. They're not much on their own, but if they build up and lots of people do them, it might be seen as racism.
Yeah.
Oh, you know when you just subtly drop the N-word in?
No, not like that. Like,
No.
like I've seen it before in Everybody Hates Chris, where it's just like the teacher goes up to Chris and it's like, "Isn't it good that your dad isn't in prison?"
I feel like that's also not very subtle. But anyway, the microaggression here is that the one that the issue is with is not making eye contact with black people or
Right.
people of colour when you're talking to them. That might be seen if lots of people do it all day, every day of their lives, it might be seen as like, you're not bothering to meet their eyes and not treating them like a proper person.
Uh-huh.
Just sort of get,
Yeah.
However, apparently, according to David M. Davis, who wrote on Twitter, this is just discrimination against autistic people, because that's clearly what the Oxford people were thinking. They were like, how can we discriminate against autistic people? I know, racial slurs or
I
something.
can already see where this guy's going, but go on.
One sign of autism is avoiding eye contact. How dare Oxford be so insensitive? And I feel kind of sorry for the Oxford people, because that was clearly not anyway. They were just trying to be
It
nice.
sounds like an honest mistake.
I think, I'm not even sure it was really a mistake. Like, they're just saying try to make eye contact with people. Like, that's all they're saying. Like, they're not saying you must make eye contact with everyone you converse with.
Literally anyone with a disorder could probably look at that and say that's offensive. Like the racial slur thing. If you have Tourette's, you often say inappropriate words. So you could drop, a slur because that's part of your condition. So they could be like, oh, that's offensive against people with Tourette's.
I was thinking more along the lines of like make eye contact with people and then like they're blind.
Anyway. No, but the thing is, though, right? Like,
I can't. That's offensive. I don't have eyes.
I can't
That's
see where
offensive
their
against
eyes
me.
are, so how am I meant to make eye contact
the
with them?
thing is, these people, they're just the Oxford equality people. They're just saying, try to make sure you make eye contact with people when you're talking to them, because it's just something that might build up.
Mm-hmm.
But then the issue I have with it, okay, yes, maybe some autistic people don't like making eye contact. Okay, they're exempt of the advice to make eye contact.
Yeah.
If it's a struggle for you, don't do it. If you haven't got eyes, you're not going to make eye contact. It's quite simple.
Yeah.
It's not singling anyone out. But then the issue I have is Oxford University have then gone back on it. They've replied to the tweet with their own tweet, which says, "We made a mistake. Our newsletter was to brief and deal adequately and sensibly with the issue." Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're saying, "We are sorry that we took no account for other reasons for difference in eye contact and social interaction." And now they're distancing themselves from the advice they gave previously. I think it's decent enough advice. It's not like it's bad advice. I don't think they should go back on it. They should just apologise for any slights they may have done, but still stick with the advice. Like, it's not wrong, is it?
It's not wrong, and it's sort of acceptable that if someone that has, like, say, autism or something like that doesn't make eye contact with people, I don't think them avoiding eye contact with a person of colour is then going to make that person go be like, well, you're being racist. I don't care if you have autism, that's just racist.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to do that, and it's that sort of article is written with, I'm going to use a psychology term here.
It's a slow news day.
It's written with neurotypical people in mind.
It's a big issue, the whole racial being, equality, all of that stuff. It's a very big issue, and I feel like a lot of people, they basically hear about something that's happened, and instantly they're like, "Oh my god, that's it. Let's string up these people. Let's burn them at the stake." And it's like, it clearly was made with good intentions at heart. There's no major issue. They made a slight mistake, maybe, that they've apologized for. I felt like we had to talk about this kind of thing, because I think it's, it happens a lot recently. Articles like this that are just basically profiteering off like slight mistakes that people make. And I don't think it should happen. It's a bit over the top.
This is an incident that should have just kind of slipped under the radar, yeah.
That was the news section.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't plan a funny story, did we?
No.
No.
Well, this pilot.
Oh, there's a funny story there. It says May says Tories would not raise VAT. I found that quite funny.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Theresa May, let's not mention her. That's a whole sort of 30-minute discussion. So let's move on to section 2, the gaming section. Fraser, have you got anything in gaming that you would like to talk about? Let's go to our resident Nintendo expert, Mr. Fraser Hayward. Fraser, how are things down there at Nintendo HQ?
Well, they're doing pretty great, John. So recently they've come up with. I've talked about it with Joe, but I haven't talked about it with Rob. The new 2DS XL.
Ooh.
Which is it's basically it's a new 3DS XL without, from the looks of it, a camera or a 3D function.
They've already made 2DS XLs.
No, they haven't. They just made a 2DS.
This one bends, Rob.
Because here's how it goes, right? This is the fucking most. This is one of the things which I don't like about Nintendo, and that's that they come up with shit names for things. You've got the 3DS, and you've got the 3DS XL, but then you've also got the new 3DS and new 3DS XL, right? Which are entirely separate things. They have like different buttons and different sticks and whatever, and it's really confusing.
They have one extra stick, and it costs like an extra £100 for a stick.
Well, it hasn't got that weird nipple thing, has it?
It has that weird
the
nipple thing.
one.
But it also has like an NFC reader in the bottom screen, and it has like increased processing speed.
Joe, what's an NFC reader?
I'm not actually sure. I think it scans stuff.
Yeah, it's the thing which they use for like Skylanders and
Oh,
Amiibos.
Oh, yay.
So they released the 2DS with the sole idea of kids are stupid, and we've got to make this as kid-friendly as possible. So they basically made it into like a what do you call it? A trapezoidal prism. It's a brick. It's a brick with two screens on it and buttons. But what
I know what a 2DS looks like.
But now they're releasing the 2DS, the new 2DS XL. It's not like the 2DS XL. It's like the new brand, so it has like all of the processing and all of the NFC reading and everything.
And all of the nipples.
But it's not 3D. So like when people think, oh yeah, new 3DS XL, they probably think the new 2DS XL. They're probably thinking like an even bigger brick.
So what you're saying is they're just releasing a big 2DS that you can scan your little amiibos with.
It's a new 3DS XL.
But it's not free. You just said it's a 3DS XL.
No,
that doesn't have 3D.
Yeah, it's a new 3DS XL that doesn't have 3D.
That's a 2DS.
Yeah, but it's not a brick, which is why their naming scheme
What do you mean
stupid.
it isn't a brick?
It's not like. Do you know what a 2DS looks like?
Yes, it looks
This
a bit
one's
like a very,
clamshell.
very small laptop.
No.
The other 2DS that I had when I was younger,
That's
was
a DS.
It was a flippy thing.
That's a DS.
What's the difference?
A 2DS can play 3DS games without the 3D.
This is what Fraser means about terrible naming system.
You just...
Okay, Rob, you know I have a 3DS.
Yes.
Okay, they made a 2D version that was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't bend. It was like a rigid thing.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
And then they've made something called the new 3DS, which had the nipple.
And the extra.
And now
shoulder
they've
buttons.
released a 2D version of the new 3DS, so they've had to call it the new 2DS to stick with their awful naming scheme.
But why not just buy the new 3DS, which, by the sounds of it, is the exact same as the new 2DS? But...
Well, I assume the new 2DS will be cheaper.
Yeah, it will, because they'll have fewer shits in it. They'll have like fewer
shits.
They won't have the 3D option, and they won't. And from the looks of it, it doesn't have cameras.
So it's inferior.
That's why you'd buy it. Well, no, not really. I mean, do you buy a 3DS for a camera or the 3D function? If
How
you do,
else
you're
am
an
I gonna
idiot.
take my
The
dang
3D
selfies?
function is awful.
Yeah, like it got improved with the new 3DS
I don't
range.
believe you.
The 3D on a 3DS is pointless.
Yeah, it is pointless.
It comes a little warning that says, do not use this for more than 10 minutes, or you'll go blind.
It's got a nice gimmick to it, but other than that, you've got nothing.
That's exactly, it's a gimmick. So you pay like an
every
extra
other
£40 or
Nintendo
whatever.
system has to have a gimmick.
That's why
And,
they released the 2DS now, because
It's making my eyes go funny.
not only did it cause like epilepsy in children, but also nobody
my God.
uses it. So it's like, here's the kid-friendly version that you can also buy if you don't give a shit about the 3D. Meh.
It's like Nintendo have really cool ideas, but
Mhm.
then execute it in a really stupid way.
I mean, yeah. Like, if they had just called it, rather than calling it the new 3DS system line, they could have just called it the Super 3DS. And it would have just put the point across, because it's like, oh yeah, it's like the 3DS, but better. Which is what it is.
Yeah, this was less of a conversation and more just us arguing about.
It's been angry at
2DS.
Nintendo. In terms of games, right, I've been playing, like, Bravely Default, which is, it's a Final Fantasy game like how they used to be, before they turned
Oh,
into,
but,
like, an
like,
action
long?
3DS game. Yeah, long, slightly repetitive, but it's got, like, a good job system, and it's turn-based.
I love a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Turn-based
Well,
job.
it's the only thing that allows you to use ninja abilities with, like, being a pirate. I've been playing some of the Etrian Odyssey games, which is kind of like, it's a good system of games. However, the art style within it is inconsistent, which is, it's off-putting. Like, you have the main characters who are one type of anime, and then you have, like, side characters who look like they've been made by, like, a different production studio. Box Boy is getting a new game. You're all
Box
fans
Boy?
of the Box Boy games.
I've never heard of Box Boy ever.
It's one of my favorite puzzle games out there. You're a box and you produce other boxes and you use it to like platform and do box-based puzzles.
Box
It
paste.
sounds amazing.
It's great. But yeah, the third game in the Box Boy series is being released, and like it's coming as like a pack with all of the
Oh god, they've made free games.
yeah. It's like the reason you haven't heard of it is because it's like on the 3DS eShop. So if you don't go on that and you don't give a shit about puzzle games, then you'll never see it.
You sum me up quite well, yes.
Yes.
Is he like Super Meat Boy but a box?
No.
Is he Super Box Boy?
He is a rounded, like it's all in black and white and it's just a rounded off square, and he runs around on two like little stick legs.
Was this released in 1984?
No, it was released about 2 years ago. The first Box Boy was as like a budget title. So yeah, that's cool, and I just like it because it's like quaint and charming to me. I just like it, and also it happened like a week and a half ago now, but I think it's still recent enough to be relevant. Project Vane, the Namco fucking thing that dropped, and everybody thought it was going to be a Dark Souls thing because of Prepare to Dine.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be a Dark Souls thing.
I thought there was a chance of it, Rob.
I just now that I've seen it, I think it was a clever thing to do. Really.
Grab their attention.
Well, it was a pun.
Yeah.
I'm always a sucker for puns. And
Oh, you and your puns.
Dark Souls / Bloodborne
Uh-huh.
games are very popular.
Hmm.
Everyone knows them, so it's like
The Souls
We'll-
likes.
we'll slip it in, and they'll eat that up.
Just slip it on in there.
Because even though it didn't turn out to be what people thought it was, it got people talking about it.
Yeah.
And now people are talking about the fact that it isn't like what they thought it was
Because
going
it
to be.
does look like a generic anime game.
Oh boy.
It's got giant mech suits, and there's vampires, and they all look moe as fuck.
Where?
Like, if they'd have produced a game which was somewhat like the trailer, where it had like a weird cartoony art style, I would have been much more inclined to have had it. Because it's like, oh, look at this, they put some kind of like artistic, like an artistic spark into it, but no, it's just kind of like albino vampire people backflipping around in mech suits, shooting each other and drinking blood.
Well, when you say it like that, it does sound pretty cool.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about this, but from that, I'm actually now interested.
It's pretty standard, is what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing out there where it's like, this game's gonna take the world by storm. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's another vampire anime game.
I don't know any other vampire anime
Yeah, I don't know any. Especially they've got mechs in.
Anyway, that's my piece done.
Is it
That's
like that one anime where like his robot is also a vampire and then he rapes that girl?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but it doesn't surprise me that a show like that exists.
I can't remember the name. It was bad.
What show?
Was it based off a light novel? That's what I really want to know.
It was basically, I can't remember what it was called at all, but basically they lived like in a space school, I think, that was in like a bubble, and then attackers came, and then like under the school or something was giant robot, the classic thing. But like to drive it, it like sucked his blood, and it was like a cute anime girl on the screen, like an anime girl robot.
Giving him the suck.
Yes, giving him the suck. And then like it was fine, but then occasionally from that point this weird red X would appear on his face and he'd like want to drink blood. But then one time he goes out with like some girl into a field in the middle of nowhere, and I can't remember why. But then like the thing comes upon him, like the red X, and he just rapes her. I stopped watching at that point because I was like, what the hell?
It makes him like an animal.
It made him seem like a rapist.
A rapist animal.
Oh my god. Rob, would you like to talk about your gaming stuff?
My game stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much about video games, but you've all probably heard the big hoo-ha about YouTube.
Yes.
What
and
about
how
YouTube?
The platform that we're trying to get onto. Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love YouTube.
YouTube, I especially love Disney and Maker Studios.
Yes, and just any sort of...
I was actually going to put this on iTunes, but whatever.
Pepsi as well. Pepsi going to save the world.
Put it on everything.
Pepsi,
it doesn't matter. We can diversify our portfolio, but go on.
Going to buy into stocks. Yeah, YouTube.
Yes.
Have sort of shot themselves in the foot.
I don't know if they've shot themselves in the foot. Do you want to talk about that first?
Well, yeah, because it's been a big thing now, and like all the big YouTubers are talking about it. Whether or not it's just them complaining because they're losing money or they genuinely care, I don't, probably depends on who you're talking about. But ever since that whole thing with PewDiePie about him being like a Nazi and then supporting Hitler and being
I don't think he's a Nazi or he supports Hitler. I just think he's an idiot.
Well, yeah, he was an idiot, and the media were like, "We'll make him seem like a Nazi because it was a big thing about it because they were essentially saying he's a Nazi and all this stuff, and he, because he's PewDiePie, aggravated them.
Yeah.
By basically doing more stuff like that, like watching Hitler videos like that. They were then reporting on things. It all basically became full circle by them reporting on it and him doing stuff to like sort of fuel that fire more just to get back at them. But then they just reported it more, and then it basically led to YouTube
Maker.
Well, the YouTube makers.
No, Maker Studios.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. They cut their contract with him.
We're gonna fix this problem because companies don't want to support people that are making controversial videos or...
Well, actually, I think those are actually two separate issues, Rob. It's sort of related, but like basically they make a cut PewDiePie because that Disney owns YouTube.
Yeah.
I think they own Maker anyway.
Yeah.
And Disney's Disney, a family brand, and they didn't want to be associated with some guy that was associated with Nazism and stuff.
Mm.
But then I think you're on about the fact that it was revealed that UK government, like recruitment bids, for the army and stuff, were actually going on in front of videos that were like recruitment videos for extremist groups like ISIS and the IRA and stuff.
Syria, yeah.
Yeah. So that means that technically the British government, which is paying for those advertisements, is directly funding terrorist groups.
Yeah.
So basically, after that came to they pulled all of their ads, and then loads of other major companies discovered that.
It's a combination of all that led to companies going, we're not going to put... YouTube put a big thing out where they updated their system, how they're going to monetize videos. Because it works by you get ads on your videos and people watch them, and then how many people watch it. Everyone probably knows how that works. But there were now major companies are now looking at videos and going, we don't want to put our ads on there because there's swearing, there's controversy, there's a whole list now of stuff you can't, that they'll demonetize your videos for, and that's making it really hard for people to make a living on YouTube.
See, the thing is, it's not demonetization as such, right? There's a thing called restricted mode that comes up if, like, the YouTube's robot people sense that you've, swore enough or said certain key terms or whatever in the video.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, the YouTubers Funhouse, they did a podcast about this subject as well, and they talked a bit about theirs, and they said that they had 2 videos, I think it was, that weren't in restricted mode, and that's like ever, and they still make money. It's not like they don't make money. I think it's basically people, when they choose to put their ads on there, can say, I don't want my ads to be shown on restricted mode stuff, or they can say, I don't mind if it is. I think it's just basically people in the past would go, yeah, we need to get our stuff out there to put on YouTube, without actually thinking about what video it might go on.
Yeah.
And now, only because of the British thing and everything, is it starting to come to light that, oh, maybe we don't want to be associated with whatever ads are going on. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it seems like they're taking it to a whole new extreme of if there's so much as a hint of anything that could be seen as like bad or controversial, there'll be no ads on that video, and it means that like people that make a living off that or are trying to, they can't because they're not getting anywhere near as much.
Yeah,
revenue as
definitely.
other
Lots of people that I follow have been saying that their revenue has been decreasing recently.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of Disney is a family establishment, and all for the family and stuff. But adults use YouTube just as much as children do.
Well, there is a YouTube thing for kids where they only show certain videos on it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, there's one
the
for
Netflix
kids, one for
kids.
gaming.
Oh, I didn't know that. But it just seems like they're focusing way too much on being correct now, and we're doing only family-friendly stuff.
You mentioned streaming as well.
My point from that was I feel like a lot more people are going to turn to places like Twitch and other streaming sites because it's a lot less controlled there.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, unless you get like your bits out or something.
Yeah, Twitch used to, I think. I don't think you used to actually have to play games on Twitch. It was only a few years ago that they said, yes, we are a gaming thing. If you're not playing a video game, we might just turn you off, because people were doing it for all sorts of things. Like eating streams and stuff. I think, anyway. Like, don't quote me on that.
No, I think there's still like a huge community of people who do like cooking shows on Twitch or like art
I'm not
streams.
sure it's on Twitch though. I think it might be on different streaming sites.
No, I've definitely I've heard from people who use Twitch on streams who's like, oh yeah, I was watching this Twitch stream about this guy who literally just whittles things.
Oh, that sounds really fun.
I mean,
I don't know what's sadder, having a stream where you whittle things or watching someone whittle things.
it depends if you're really into people whittling things, Rob. I'm not one to judge people's pastimes.
Are you the one person that watches the whittling?
No, I'm not that into woodwork.
My point is as well that it seems that it'd be a lot easier to make money off streaming as well, compared to how YouTube is now.
See, the thing is, I think there'll always be. YouTube itself may eventually go, but I still think there'll always be room for a YouTube style thing. Like, I do watch streams, but most of the people on the internet in general are American.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a time difference. So if I want to watch a stream by someone that starts like late, so it starts at like 8 p.m. in America, it'll start like midnight here.
Yeah.
So if it's on like a weeknight or whatever, I might not actually I can watch like an hour, and then I have to turn it off. You know what I mean? And they do have the VODs on Twitch, but the VOD system on Twitch is garbo. Because it's meant to be a live system rather than sort of catching up on everything.
Yeah.
So I think there will always be a market for edited, smaller highlight video type things that go on YouTube. It's just whether or not the system that you view them on remains YouTube or it moves to a different thing. Like Vimeo. Vimeo's the future, guys. I'm telling you, we should buy stocks in Vimeo.
I heard
Vimeo.
I heard I forget what source it was. I think it was Critical, actually. He was on about how Pornhub tried something like that tried like a YouTube before YouTube was popular, and it crashed and burned. So if they were to attempt it again with all of their porn money, and like come up with a better deal,
All that porn money.
and come up with a better deal than what YouTube's doing, then it could potentially be like a competitor. Because let's be honest, YouTube doesn't have a competitor.
No,
Vimeo.
no, they sort of ate all of their competitors back in like 2007.
Yeah.
Vimeo, yeah, I'm telling you, it's Vimeo, all the way to the bank. So Rob, is that all that you really wanted to talk about?
Is that all that you want to talk about right now?
Well, I had it's probably a bit of a smaller topic for gaming, but if you could pick a video game universe to live in, like any video game universe,
What would it be?
See, the thing is,
what would it be?
with a lot of games, like, unless you choose, Viva Pinata, the game, like, you're not gonna say it's probably not your favorite game. Like, I quite like shooters. I'm not gonna say like I want to go live in the Halo universe where all they know is war.
Yeah.
But I want to go to the Call of Duty universe where all they know is war and Jon Snow is trying to kill them. It's just like, yeah, I would pick a game like Cooking Mama, where it's just a woman who it's pretty much the regular world.
Yeah.
What would you pick, Rob?
I would.
You mean you didn't think about this?
Well, it'd probably be like an open world one. So, see, because I'd have to say probably something like Skyrim.
In Skyrim, you basically, I don't want to be mean, but you would just be a medieval peasant man
That's true.
who lives in a war-torn
Well, yeah,
region.
it depends what you get incarnated as in this, really, isn't it?
Well, I'm just
No
saying,
matter what your race
there's
is.
one Dovahkiin and like 60,000 NPCs.
Yeah, it's like no matter
Statistically speaking.
what your race is, your likelihood is you'll just end up being a farmer.
But that sounds quite nice. It's quite peaceful.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well do something like Harvest Moon, where it's like a normal farm and not one that will get like
And
ravaged
it's
by
an
dragons.
idyllic life as well. Where you get to be like an animal person.
I'm a furry.
You can become a furry, it's what you've always wanted.
What's that?
I choose a dating sim world where I can just like be attacked by hundreds of ravenous women who just want me.
Yeah, but he does have the creepy ones. Like, what was that game you played?
Which one?
Yeah, that's what I mean. The one that we tried, was it Shaft?
Shaft
Not
is an anime studio that is
Bloody hell, what's it called?
fantastic.
What's Mabo from?
Mabo. Oh, that one's Shuffle. Shuffle.
Shuffle.
Is god
Shuffle.
awful.
That's it. Can
Oh,
you remember the one we tried to do that route? And it was horrific.
Oh man, Shuffle.
But it's okay. She's like a 1,000-year-old demigod or something.
Yeah.
I swear.
Actually, she wasn't. Oh god, Shuffle is horrible.
Most of those games are horrible because there's always it's just the lolly characters that really put me off. Cause
well, I mean, any form of. We'll get into this more, I assume, in the anime section. But yeah, like lolly characters in general are really gross.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fraser, you haven't actually picked a gaming world, and I haven't either. What world would you like to be in?
I mean, just something with like a plain existence. So it's like, you won't get murdered.
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, Animal Crossing, but
That's quite a good
but
one,
like in Animal
actually.
Crossing, you've got like the overarching like theme of debt, and like I don't want that.
Sounds like the real world.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go to a video game world, I don't want to have to constantly like think about like, oh, I've got to make sure that my social standing is correct and make sure that I have a house that isn't like, rented to me by a weird raccoon man.
Is that real life?
What you got against raccoons?
I
man?
mean, I've got nothing against raccoons, man. I have. What I have against people is like people who like just kind of sucker me into a house, and that's how those games always go. It's like, hey buddy, how'd you want a house? And it's like, oh, I guess so. And it's like, cool, you owe me money now. And I'm like, what?
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to go with some form of, dating sim. Maybe like one that on PS4 where you have to shoot all of the girls with the love gun or whatever to make.
If I were to pick a world, I'd pick like Harvest Moon, because it's the only one where farming is actually fun.
I want to change my answer to that Moonbase Alpha one.
John Madden.
John
It
Madden.
would just be a hell of John Madden.
No,
We
that'd
already
be heaven.
exist in that world.
Okay, my gaming section. I'm going to move on to. Recently, obviously, I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Who hasn't?
These guys know how much I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
I love that game so much. I saw a GIF the other day of the horse Roach.
Yeah.
It glitched, so its four legs were on like a pallet, and its rear legs were on the floor, and it was just doing push-ups on the pallet. It was pretty great.
He's making them gains.
In terms of my other topics, there's a new Dawn of War, the Warhammer game, that's just been released, and people have been saying it's not great.
Right.
I haven't played it, but basically I've heard that the story is like the old Dawn of War 2, which had some big expansions as well. That was like pretty well received. People really like that game. But in this one, I've heard that the story just constantly leaps between the three main factions, the Eldar, the Orcs, and the Space Marine. People think it's the Blood Ravens or something. It constantly leaps between them. There's no real like proper cohesion because of that. It's very short and boring, and it's
Right.
basically just being treated as like a tutorial for the multiplayer.
Oh.
And then I've also heard that the multiplayer is not great compared to Dawn of War 2. So, I mean, I was excited for that game. I will admit.
Now
And
you've been
now
dashed.
I'm not so excited for that game. Yeah. Apparently, it's even caused TB to break his like 5-year-long Sega boycott, and he's actually like made a video on a Sega game, which surprised me. Oh yeah, there's a new Call of Cthulhu game coming out in like November, I think, or something. The trailer for it looks really creepy and weird, which is good.
Oh, like a video game.
Yeah, like on the Xbox, PC, and everything. I'm muy excited.
What sort of style are they going for with that? And is it like a
Is it like the
shooter
Call
or
of Cthulhu game
Well,
that came
I
out
don't know if
before?
it'll be a shooter. The every previous video game based on like Cthulhu has been pretty terrible, I think. So I'm hoping not.
Because it was like a first-person thing where you wander through a town and it's like, we don't like you here.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's like it's only a cinematic trailer, but I think it's again like a first-person thing where you like might be pretty Lovecraftian setting of like you're a PI tasked with finding some guy, and then I assume cultists will be involved, and Rillier and Cthulhu and all that.
and then Yig shows up?
Yig shows up, the
Yig.
snakes everywhere. Yig. But yeah, I mean, again, it's only a cinematic trailer so far, but I'm hoping it'll be good because I do love the Cthulhu's.
I love them like a child.
Yeah, Tulu Fatagan. And also my like bigger sort of topic I want to talk about was related to streaming as well.
Right.
So I don't know if you've actually like I think I've mentioned it before, but I don't know if you've actually seen it. If not, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, the thing that just sort of appeared like a month ago now, and just swept all over Twitch, and every single streamer ever was playing it, and it was all on YouTube. And then already, there are signs that people are bored of it and you want them to move on to the next game. And it just made me think about all the sort of games that just sort of emerged that are on Twitch, where it's like a flash in the pan, basically.
Yeah.
And do you think that's ever going to stop?
There's always going to be fads, isn't there?
I know, but it seems like every month there has to be a game released that takes Twitch by storm, or every couple of months. That takes Twitch by storm and is, probably not even that bit well built. It's like in beta. It costs 40 quid even though it's in beta. You play it for like 2 hours, you watch it on Twitch, and then that's it, it's gone.
I think the popularity hinders it a lot because you like say you buy the game,
Right.
and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this, and then you play it for like 2 hours, and then you go on YouTube, and because of how YouTubers are, literally everyone and their mum is playing that on YouTube. So it's just like the same content all the time. There's only so many videos you can watch of different people playing it before it gets to the same.
Right, okay, so it's so popular that you can't avoid it.
Yeah, and then you go on Twitch and it's like, oh yeah, today we're going to be streaming this really popular game because that's what everyone else is doing. And so I think you just sort of get saturated with it so much of seeing the same thing over and over again that like novelty of it all just sort of completely just kills it.
Yeah, it does make sense because I suppose in the older days you would see a game on YouTube or whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, that looks cool," and then you'd buy it and you'd play it on your own. And like, if you wanted to, you'd maybe go back to the series that you were watching and finish it, but probably after you'd finished the game, so you wouldn't
That's
spoil
what I'm doing
yourself.
right now with the Game Grumps Breath of the Wild.
Yes, because you're going to get Breath of the Wild soon,
Well, not
aren't you, Fraser?
soon. Just eventually.
But anyway, that was the Nintendo corner. Reporting back to the studio. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was like, as well as games like PUBG, I love that abbreviation, PUBG. There's, Kraken's game, that new game, like ICU, is it, or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Like, that is a game that he's come up with that's developed deliberately for Twitch and streaming. Do you think that's going to be a big thing in a few years? Get lots of games released that are specific. Like there was that Goat Simulator game, which everyone called YouTuber bait a few years ago, because it was a game that was terrible, took like 5 seconds to make, but YouTubers bought it to join in on the fad of it being a YouTube thing that would earn them money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a big increase in like games that are released that have literally no substance, that are deliberately designed to be played on Twitch and not actually to be played by normal people who don't stream everything? You know what I mean?
I get the feeling that shit like that always happens while there's money to be made.
It's true. Capitalist society. Seize the means of production.
It's
rise up.
Like Twitch has become more popular just recently, and obviously we had that conversation about YouTube, and then more people might move into Twitch anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely possible. It's like games move with what's popular, and like with the whole there was a video about the PewDiePie was talking about like how horror games, like when he started playing horror games like Amnesia and all that, there was only like a handful of games that were like that because no one really played them. But then as soon as they became popular on YouTube with people like PewDiePie and stuff,
I don't know if that's true. I feel like that might be his massive inflated ego talking.
Well, yeah, but
there's no bias here.
there is the point there that because that, like, say one game got more popular, then suddenly other games will change to be like that, or more similar games will appear. So I think with Twitch and that platform being there, if people see that you can do it that way, then I think, yeah, there'll be like loads. And it's like Call of Duty, it only takes so long before Call of Duty got popular, and then suddenly 20 other bloody developers are making the same similar, let's make a first-person shooter, and it's got multiplayer.
I mean, first-person shooters came before Call of Duty. It's just they did some things right, and then people copied those things that they did right, and then expanded them. Like Battlefield started off, I'm pretty sure, as just like a Call of Duty clone, but then it expanded into like its own thing with classes and everything.
There's no originality, really. It's just
that's quite nice.
Which ideas that work best can I steal off other people and smash together to make a new game?
There's no such thing as originality on the face of it. It's just kind of like making something that stands out and makes people think, God, I wish I came up with that. Because if you look at anything, you can see where its inspiration came from.
And I think people will like that whole Twitch thing because people like the same thing.
People like the same thing.
Pardon?
People like the same thing.
Well, no, people don't like change a lot when it comes to games. So if
people don't like change in general, honestly.
Yeah, if one person makes a shitty, this is made for Twitch game, then suddenly a bunch of clones are going to come out of it, or that one developer is going to keep making the same thing.
Right, at Freddy's. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a perfect example of like YouTube bait. What you were on about.
Yeah.
You make the same game, everyone's like,
literally
there's Five Nights at Freddy's 2 come out. It's exactly the same as the second one, but they've changed like one thing.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the same as the second Five Nights at Freddy's game. That surprises me, Rob.
Do you know it doesn't surprise me?
What?
You're a cock. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
and like people like Markiplier sucked that shit up, and then the people sucked.
You're being very
Markiplier.
mean to people we've never met.
We could meet Markiplier in some kind of stroke of miracle, and he'd be like, he'd be like the nicest guy, and then people could like source this up and send it to him. Like they could hack Joe's computer and be like, "Oh yeah, we'll explain this shit."
Yeah, and I'd happily say it to his face that he milked.
That he's a shill and that you hate him.
Yes, that he milked. Is it Scott Coffin? Is that the guy that made
Scott the Coffin?
I don't watch Markiplier.
He milked.
I have taste.
He milked Scott's little nipples.
See, now you're insulting like a game creator. He'll create a game.
I'll cut this.
He'll create a game which will specifically be like chop off Rob Milton's penis. That does
That
sound
sounds
like a great game.
fantastic
I'll
game.
make
Can I
that game.
kickstart that? Let's move on, shall we? Okay, to the
Yes,
film
moving on.
section. Fraser, you haven't talked
Okay.
for a while. Let's do your film.
The film in question, which I just kind of want to talk about, is The Hitman's Bodyguard. I feel as though that could either be the most disappointing action comedy of the year, or it could be like a really good one. And we were talking about this last night, weren't we, Joe? But it's either a case of like all of the good jokes are in the trailer, or like it pulls a Deadpool and becomes like great.
See, right. I mean, I love Ryan Reynolds, especially in Deadpool. He was very, very, very good, and he's a funny guy. But at the same time, for a start, in the Hitman's Bodyguard trailer, and I don't usually watch trailers because they give away every joke in the film, which I feel like it's done in this case as well. In the trailer, he basically played Ryan Reynolds doing most characters, like Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool, basically. Like, you know, the same style of humor. I feel like they're trying to recapture that magic, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because Deadpool was a really funny movie, but at the same time, you don't just want to watch the same movie again. And I also feel like if the entire movie is literally just like, hey, we put Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson together, that's it, that's the movie. You know, I feel like it'll get boring very quickly, like if there's no decent plot to go along with it. So I'm just, you know, I'm a little anxious that they've blown the load, and that's it. It's going to be a damp squid in someone's trousers, and that's all it'll be.
Squid. Put that on your movie poster.
I want to remain optimistic. I think both Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are very good actors.
Yes.
And so I hope that putting them together in a film will... See, I'm in the opposite sort of thing, that even if it's like a really bad plot, I think I'd still enjoy it.
You giggled in Logan at the fat kid running through the woods.
Yes, I did, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that did, Fraser, because it was hilarious. I just feel as though like the whole "I'll laugh at anything" can be put on, can be drawn very strongly here. That if you laugh at something as asinine as like the guy, like the robot hand man from Logan being like, "Relax, it's only a flesh wound, baby." He didn't say it like that, Fraser. You know how he said it.
He said it like a cowboy,
but to be fair, he found it funny because of our in-joke about John Wick 2 rather than Logan.
No, right. The thing is though, it's very clearly, even in the trailer, it's very clear that it's Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson in a comedy like buddy cop situation.
Yeah.
So if I find stuff funny, that's probably a good thing, because that's the whole point of this comedy film that's coming out.
I know, but the thing is, again, with trailers these days, literally,
I get what you're saying.
Make them, I don't understand them. It's like instead of making a trailer, they're told to condense the movie into a 2-minute long thing, and then we'll just release that. It's like, here's the entire plot line and all of the good jokes.
I get the feeling that they make like several trailers, and they're like, "So, what do you think of these?" And the movie executives are like, "These other two aren't good enough." Like, they'll just kind of like, you know, come watch this funny movie, and it's like, these aren't good enough. We need to show some of the jokes. Put all of them in. And it's like, "Sir, that'll ruin everything. Put all of them in." And then he takes a huge huff of his cigar and then like reclines into the darkness.
Snips some cocaine. He's like, "I love money." It's like Mr. Krabs. There's a movie
I don't think Mr. Krabs smokes.
No, no, but he loves money.
Oh yeah, that's
He does
that's
cocaine
like
as well. That's canon.
He does cocaine.
what's the Krabby Patty's secret formula? Well, it's 3 tons of meth rocks.
Is that sort of your topic over, Fraser?
Yeah, other than that, it's like, I'll probably end up seeing it for my birthday.
Yeah, I'll go to see it most likely, unless some other trailer is released that contains the other jokes they cut out of the first trailer. That's the thing with movies nowadays. It's like, oh, this looks crap. I'm gonna end up seeing it anyway, but it looks crap.
Kong.
I love
Oh, don't
Kong. You
mention
leave
Kong,
that
but
alone.
Fraser is so bad.
It's a B movie, and I love it.
It's not even a B movie. The B movie itself is better than Kong. Do you like jazz?
Thanks, Jerry
Um,
Seinfeld.
Rob,
Yes.
what is your film thing?
Well, I had 3. Well, there's 2 that I want to talk about, and then
Okay,
there's one that I've actually seen. Alien Covenant.
right.
What are you guys' thoughts of that?
Looks like a scary alien movie, which I'm not gonna watch.
I've seen Alien.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent, it's alright. I've seen Aliens. Great film, great 80s film. I've seen Alien 3, but can't remember much of it because it was very boring.
Yeah.
I've seen Aliens Resurrection, is it? Revelation? Something like that?
Yeah,
It's
Resurrection.
appalling. One of the worst
Yeah, that
movies I've ever
was
seen.
awful. Yeah.
I tried to watch Prometheus a few weeks ago and got so fantastically bored I turned it off because it was awful. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not enthusiastic about the new Alien movie. As whoever is in charge this time, seems to be doing their best to just sort of kill the Alien series. It's like, we should have stopped, but we can't. We don't know how to stop making Alien movies.
It's like
Please help us.
that's just how it goes. It's like, oh no, we need to capture the 80s
Ridley Scott.
nostalgia.
That's who makes it.
Ridley Scott made
Scott.
the first one.
I think he's still doing it, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, Aliens Covenant, I've seen the trailer, I think, because someone else I watched covered the trailer. And, it looks scary, There's a lot of aliens. The CG, I prefer, the practical effects for that kind of thing, again, because of a nostalgia
They
thing more
seem
than anything.
tangible.
It'll probably be very gory. It'll have lots of jump scares. The plot will be incomprehensible and boring. But you'll watch it anyway for the aliens. I mean, that's probably the movie there.
I think they've done the wrong thing with
No.
how they're trying to do this.
What do you mean?
Well, because the whole thing, like the first one, is it's not really plot heavy. It's more, we're on a ship. There's a scary killer alien. We have to survive, sort of thing. And then it kills them off.
Yeah.
And then what's her face? Sigourney Weaver survives. And there's a cat.
There is a cat. True.
Whereas now, especially with Prometheus, they're trying to introduce, we've got these scary aliens and they're being hunted down, but also there's this really confusing, convoluted plot going on that you've also got to try and keep track of.
Yeah,
with these kind of films, you're mostly in it for the scary stuff rather than the plot stuff. Because if you go to that Alien film, they're introducing really new cool aliens. It isn't just chest bursts anymore. There's backbursters and all these different ones. It's not even xenomorphs anymore, is it? It's another morph going on.
Because it's like airborne.
In Prometheus, weren't they the engineers or whatever they're called made the aliens and
it's like they're trying to do 2 different things at once, and I really just want to go and see scary aliens kill people. I
remember in the lead up to Prometheus, I swear that Ridley Scott or whoever was like, this isn't going to be an alien movie, it's going to be about other stuff, but it ended up being an alien movie,
That's what I mean. If you just pick one, either make an alien film or make a different film with aliens, a different type of alien in it. Don't be like, we're going to make aliens but make it confusing.
As a person who really doesn't give a shit about the Alien franchise.
No, right, Donnie Darko.
Why are we bringing Donnie Darko into this, Rob?
Donnie Darko is a good film because it's a film that you watch it.
Such an email.
You watch it and you're like, what the hell, what was all that? And then you get it explained to you, or you look back at the film and you're like, oh, that makes so much sense, that's really cool. Prometheus is just plain confusing, and even the bloody director doesn't know what's going on. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what the actual answer is. You don't do that. If you're going to make a film that's confusing, you want it where you can look back at all the subtle clues and stuff, or go on the internet and have it someone explain to you, and you're like, oh my god, that like you have a click in the head moment, and it all makes sense. You don't want it to be where it's like, I'm not really gonna give you the whole story, because that's not like edgy and cool. That's just stupid.
Yeah, Ridley Scott, that's not cool.
It's just a boring film at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't want boring, scientific, weird. Oh, the Jesus people from the sky came and they've got black goop and stuff. I just want to see
They've got
really
black
cool.
people.
I
What?
just want to
They've got
see
black
cool.
goop, Joe.
Make sure you make eye contact with them.
Yeah, you gotta make eye contact with them, or like, unless you're autistic. I just,
Oh God, that's getting cut.
I just want to see people being cut up and gory and stuff by aliens. I don't want heavy plot. It's not what people want to see in an alien film. I want to see Sigourney Weaver set aliens on fire.
But at the same time, maybe this one does have the title Alien. Maybe they're trying to make up for it. We haven't seen the movie. It might be all right.
I just realised how hypocritical I was to say that people don't like change ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want change, I want the same thing.
Anyway, what was the other thing you wanted to talk about, Rob?
Oh, there's a new Transformers film coming out.
Oh
Oh
God.
god.
Sorry, carry on.
I haven't watched any trailers or anything like that, but
I
You don't
have.
need to. It's got explosions.
actually,
It's got
yeah.
skimpily dressed women. It's probably got Mark Wahlberg, and it's got robots.
I
it
have seen
has.
the trailer now that I remember it. It has Mark Wahlberg in it, and apparently Optimus Prime's turned bad.
No, of course. Well, I mean, they've run out of fucking ideas, haven't they? Robot smash. That's it. That's the plot.
And it looks like he's the only one that's left.
Is it Michael Bay still?
Yeah.
Of course it's Michael Bay stuff.
Fucking hell.
He's a money machine.
He's a something.
The people who know shit about Transformers, aka nerds,
AKA Fraser.
no. They're talking about it being some kind of fucking character like Nemesis Prime, who's one thing in the comics is like, he hates Christmas. So...
What?
yeah.
What do you mean he hates Christmas?
He just hates Christmas. It's like he's that evil, he hates Santa.
What a horrible robot alien man.
Everything that you love, child, he hates. He's evil. And the kids are like, no, he hates Santa. Oh, God. So everyone's like, so not everyone, obviously. People have speculated that it's just going to be like evil Optimus Prime.
It's not really speculation. It's blatantly clear in the.
I mean, it
In the
could be
trailer?
like a twist where it's like, oh no, I learned something while I was frozen in space, and now I have to stop all of you because there's a greater truth. You know?
You do your Optimus and Sam thing, please, Fraser. For me.
No, it feels forced.
Fraser, come on.
Sam Witwicky isn't even in the movies anymore.
Come on, Fraser. Please.
No, it'll feel like it's
Fraser.
like a dance monkey dance situation. I'm not doing it.
Fraser. Fraser. Please, for the audience.
Fraser, I will kick you off this podcast if you don't.
I will cut your audio track. Fraser, come on.
Well, where it's like, Optimus! And he's like, Sam! And then it goes like...
That's
I
it.
think
That's all I needed. It's fine.
Optimus! Sam! There we go.
Oh God.
Oh, God. Right then. Is that all you had to say? There's a new Transformers movie, and it's going to be like every other Transformers movie, and I'm not going to watch it because it's terrible.
Yes.
I haven't even
I've
watched...
tried to watch the first Mark Wahlberg one. I think they've released another one since then.
No. It's only been one Mark Wahlberg one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But either way, it was terrible. Like, awful.
You sound
I
offended.
don't care. Yeah, well, I am. Because I like Transformers. I like the 80s movie. That's all I have to say on the subject, honestly, is that just Transformers at this point needs to be just...
The only good
like
thing about it is
flogging
that
the dead
it
horse.
keeps the toys coming for the collectors.
Ooh.
So John Wick 2, guys.
Is John Wick 2 your other thing?
Yeah, John Wick 2 is probably one of the best films I've seen in a very long time.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't know about that, Rob. What about Kong?
No, I meant I much prefer John Wick 1 to John Wick 2.
Yeah, I do. I think overall they just kind of were like, how do we make John Wick better with all of this money that we've earned from the first one?
Yeah. Well, it was a great film. I really liked it, but at the same time, that one of the things that I really loved about John Wick was that there were points that weren't, but like it felt quite real. Unlike most action hero movies, where like they fall out of helicopters and survive and stuff. Like John Wick felt quite small budget, small scale, realistic sort of violence and fighting. It was quite cool. I mean, it was funny, but in John Wick 2, they literally have a scene where they're in the subway shooting silenced pistols at each other in the midst of like hundreds of people just casually going to work or whatever, and like none of them notice its silenced pistol isn't actually silenced; it's just slightly quieter than a normal pistol.
The directors did talk about that when they were walking through the subways, and they were like, "Boy, no one really gives a shit down here. You could have a gunfight in here," and that's how.
They both look at each other like, ah. Well, I'd say John Wick 1 is a better film.
Right.
But I think it's just because I saw John Wick 2 first, and like I was just excited to see Keanu Reeves punch people in the face, if I'm honest. And like I got to see it in the cinema, and it was all like really cool.
The
like,
opening scene where the motorbike chase just completely makes you lose all sense of hearing.
Yeah, so I feel like
that
just
was
because
beautiful. To be fair, the opening of John Wick 2 was so hype.
Yeah.
Like all the car stuff was just like, oh, I loved it.
With a fucking pencil.
The fucking pencil.
Who the fuck does that?
For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, go watch it. It's great.
Yeah, it's
there's pencils.
It's good. The dog doesn't die in this one.
It's true, the dog. Although it does die in the first one, which is a spoiler.
It's kind of like a given at this point. You have to know about. If you're watching John Wick 2,
only an idiot would watch John Wick 2 first.
Oh, I know, right?
I silently shake my head
John
at
Wick
you,
2
sir.
is good. I want more movies like that with Keanu Reeves in. I mean, just more Keanu Reeves movies is good.
I mean, they are making a Bill and Ted 3.
Have you seen the guy who played? Was it Bill? The one that wasn't Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He hasn't aged quite as well as Keanu has.
I mean, that's easy to say because Keanu Reeves is a literal vampire.
It's true, he is an immortal.
I mean, I'd quite like it if it was just kind of like a... What if they just do like the classic Hollywood thing and they were just like, shit, we need to make money. Quick, make it so that they have kids and they do it. And it's like, yeah!
But Keanu Reeves plays his own kid.
He has like the John Wick beard.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about my favourite part of John Wick 2 is the Pigeon Man.
You mean Morpheus with pigeons?
Yeah, just how extravagant he was and eccentric.
Somebody please!
$1 million a bullet, baby.
Again, go watch John Wick 2.
Yeah, great film. So this has been episode 1 of the John Wick 2 Appreciation Podcast. Please tune in next week where we'll also be talking about how good John Wick 2 is.
Yes.
Did I say John Wick 2?
Just John Wick as a franchise.
Just John Wick in general. It's
Unless
great.
it pulls a Matrix and does a third movie, which is just shite.
Well, to be fair, there was a decreasing royalty between 1 and 2. I'm hoping there's not a decreasing
I hope
royalty
that
between
John
2 and
Wick
3.
2 has like a dip in quality because it's kind of like leading on to part 3, and we can view it
to
all
be
as
fair,
a
the end
whole.
of John Wick 2 was so obviously setting up like a major third movie that I'm very hyped for.
What I liked though was that even though John Wick 2 wasn't as good as John Wick 1, it was still a really good film. So the fact that it's a really good film with that dip in quality and the second film's usually the worst, I think that's a good indicator of what's going to come if they make a John Wick 3.
Well, often as well in a trilogy, like the second film is like the worst.
Yeah.
Because again, like Fraser said, you got to set up the third movie.
So for John Wick 2 to be the worst,
it's a good thing.
Is a good thing, yeah. That's like a good bar
I feel
to
as
be
though
at.
you make like a terrible mistake there because you're neglecting to mention Shrek in this. And Shrek 2...
Okay, Shrek 3 was an abomination.
Shrek 3 was an abomination, and Shrek 2 is a fucking cinematic masterpiece.
Shrek 2 is good. It's a good film. I loved it. My favourite part of Shrek 2 is the little scene where they're capturing them, like the police are, and they give him the pepper spray and they pull out the giant pepper thing and like grind pepper into his eyes. That was my favorite part. It's just like a little quick scene.
I liked all of it, but I like Puss. I like Puss in Boots.
I like the puss.
Oh god.
Fucking subtle,
Right.
mate.
Have any other film stuff you want to talk about, or?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, busy done yours, right?
I've
So
done-
my film stuff. I've put Guardians of the Galaxy on mine just as a quick little like, I want to see it. You know, I'm excited for it. Do you two have any thoughts?
I just hope that they like from the roster that they're putting together, where it's like, we've also got these new characters. I hope they just don't become cannon fodder. I hope it's like they're an actual useful member of the team, and that they're not just adding in a Black Widow and a Hawkeye into things.
Hawkeye's useful.
Hawkeye is useful, but he's an underplayed member of the team. If you were to like examine the movies on a critical level, Hawkeye effectively does nothing except for be like comic relief in the second Avengers movie.
I've said
Yeah.
this multiple times.
I love him as a character, and I love Jeremy Renner doing him.
Oh, I bet you do.
Oh boy, oh baby. Because, you know, it looks like he's having fun with it, but at the same time...
To be fair though, like the whole point of him not being useless is that he's with literal gods and shit, and then he's just a dude.
That has a bow and arrow.
Yeah, like he's a trained operative trying to fight alongside like genetically modified super mutants and shit. Like it's not his fault.
And
He's
a
not quite as
literal Norse god.
Yeah, literal god, a giant green man that can like literally not die.
Oh, we've tried to kill him.
Oh, we've tried. Yeah, but the thing is with war movies, I was just thinking about this earlier in the shower.
As you do.
So basically, yeah. So basically, war movies in the past, you know, like I watched The Battle of Britain earlier, and like in the past, war movies used to be what, Ralph?
You soap up in the shower thinking of young Ian McShane.
And Michael Caine. Michael Caine was in it as well.
Oh,
He got
Michael
shot
Caine.
down. Michael Caine.
Marco Kane.
Michael Caine. Yeah. So I was in the past, like the Battle of Britain stuff, although that one's sort of factually accurate. You know, they're basically like, oh, England, jolly old England will save the day, rah. You know, and like any American war movie is all like, yeah, so those Europeans were all dead. Literally every European was dead. The Nazis controlled the whole world, including China.
Well, we went in there and we beat their asses.
We went in there, we dropped like 58 atom bombs, and we just, in like a week, we single-handedly won the war with no help from anyone else in the entire world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then modern war movies seem to be very much, well, I say modern, like since like the 90s, seem to be very much focused on more sort of realistic, gritty tellings of the war.
Yeah.
You know, so like Saving Private Ryan, although it's not a really true story, you know, it's sort of realistically set. You know, it's a little squad of people, they die, and they die achieving basically nothing. They get one guy out. You know, spoilers, but like, yeah, they get one guy out of the fight. It's not like they won the fight by doing that. And like Fury, I've seen Fury, and that one's basically like the end of the war. The tank gets blown up. They try to fight like a whole group of SS. And they fail and die.
Surprising.
Yeah.
It's Hacksaw Ridge was a bit like that as well.
Yeah, I've heard Hacksaw Ridge is a little over the top, but at the same time, it's like a more sort of, again, you know, it takes into effect. The thing is as well, I was thinking it takes into account, the psychological impacts of war that you don't really see in those old war movies, mainly because you probably didn't understand it as much.
Yeah.
Like, I read a story about how General Patton, famed US general, who was a complete tosspot, like, this guy had PTSD and he threatened to shoot him. General Patton threatened to shoot him unless he got out there and fought because, like, he was an asshole. You know,
Fair.
It's just thinking about the psychological impact of war, you know, seeing all your friends die around you and stuff. It's just like, I'm glad that more recent movies seem to cover this, you know, because it's a story that needs to be told. You know what I mean?
Well, it's why I like in Saving Private Ryan. That's why I like. Well, I don't like the character, but I think it was a good thing they put Upham in there.
Oh, the nerdy guy.
Yeah, because you know, in many war films, it's always like, oh yeah, we the badass Marines, we gonna show those Nazis what.
Well,
But
American.
there was actually people who got scared and didn't want to fight and were actual cowards and stuff. But you know, well, coward's sort of a strong word because you know you're being shot at and you're gonna die, so it's not really a bad thing. But it wasn't always just a testosterone shooting fest.
You didn't have a squad of 28 Arnie's all trying to
Yeah.
like blast their way through Vietnam. Nah.
Armed with like rocket launchers and LMGs, it just
It's
didn't
like
happen.
Rambo where he's got like a bow and arrow and he kills like 68 people with machine guns. Anyway, yeah, that was all I really wanted to say. We got off track a little bit there, but yeah, I'm just glad that sort of, you know, those movies are being made that address the sort of real issues rather than an idealized form of war and making it all seem rosy and nice and stuff. Okay, so that was that. That was Trainwreck.
Yes.
Thank you for listening, Zero people.
Yes. Our audience of
No
no
one
one.
will ever hear this.
We all need a signature outro that we do. Like, Rob, what would your signature outro be? You know, your goodbye until next time.
Right, that's gonna do it for this video. I've been Markiplier.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to smash that subscribe button.
Okay.
And as
Right.
always, I will see you in the next video.
Okay, and on that note, let's end the show. Bye-bye.
Bye.